Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. Right, once again trekking familiar territory. Star Wars, the vintage collection, in this specific case, the figure of the Emperor. Right, so one of the ways in which Star Wars could be seen is as a cautionary tale against the fact that power corrupts. And if power corrupts, then ultimate power will corrupt ultimately. And none other than this specific character embodies this notion. We've got here the Emperor. And by the way, this was exactly the name that I knew this character growing up. Only much later was the name Palpatine added on. Right, so this card mimics the original card by Return of the Jedi from 1983. This one is quite recent. Okay, it just came out in 2021 and I just picked it up. Right, so what is curious for me, obviously, is the juxtaposition, the comparison, direct comparison with the original figure that I've got here. Okay, so much more accurate, the recent version, of course, but this one has got that vintage appeal to it. This one was the actual figure that I had growing up. It actually has the dubious record of having been the only figure that I lost its accessory. Only later on, after acquiring a lot of vintage Star Wars figures by Kenner, did I manage to get back another Emperor's cane. Well, in all honesty, this was one of my least played with accessories growing up. I mean, a cane isn't exactly the deadliest of weapons. Is it now? Okay, but it is quite detailed. It's got lots of grooves and this, wavy pattern to it, and the wavy construction with which it was made, actually confers to it a rather nice detail. As for the figure itself, only 5 points of articulation as we were used to back then. The legs are molded directly into the robes, right? So his, robes, right? So you've got this chunky pieces of plastic, and it's got a bit of a hunchback, a whole, monkish feeling to this figure. That is exactly right, but Emperor nonetheless. So the title harkens back to the empires, the Roman Empire. So once again, being careful with assuming that when someone is giving too much power, generally things do not work out so well for the rest of the people. Right, so this one is the original Kenner version, and this one right here is the most recent version with the original card back, as it were, or at least very close to the original card back then in the 80s. Right, in terms of the face, it's got a scowl on his face. I don't know if you can actually see the face of the figure, and it actually came out with a playset mimicking the last duel on Return of the Jedi, but I thought it was a bit too much. I still may pick it up in the future, but I thought it was a bit too much, considering that this figure came out just fine. It's got an extra pair of hands with the light bolts, just seaming through the fingers, and a cross cell on the back of the figure. So it sports the number of 200. So 200 of these figures have already been released. Right, you guys, another one for the vintage collection, and this one obviously is a keeper inside its original packaging. Right, hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know I most certainly have. I will see you soon. Take care, stay safe, stay strong.